So here's a great little Swiss Army style knife that I've had for, I don't know, well over 15 years. As you can see, this one was originally, branded for Eddie Bauer. It's made by Wenger, depending on how you want to pronounce it, I suppose. This is their day hiker model. Features a locking blade, which I find is quite nice. To me, that adds a little comfort, especially when you're working with things. Usually, you don't run into it too bad. It's pretty stout, so it doesn't come undone right away. You got to depress it pretty far, so I find that a nice feature. The blade is very, very thin and ridiculously sharp. I don't know what kind of steel it is. Switzerland stainless. I don't know, I'm sure it's 440 or something like that. Nothing special at all. But again, sharpens up real easy and stays real sharp because it's so thin. So that's a nice feature. One of the things that's my favorite about this knife, aside from the locking feature, is the can opener. It is pretty much one of the most aggressive that I've come across. Looks like a little hawkbill. I mean, the thing is just absolutely razor sharp. It actually even has a bit of a knife edge to it that I've sharpened up even further a little. And so that worked quite well. I find it gets a really good purchase on all cans and just, man, it tears into things. But best of all, it's throwing those mega sparks off your ferro rod. So that's a real good feature, I find. And doesn't seem to mess up the cutting edge at all. So that's very nice. I like that a bunch. What else do we have? Of course, standard bottle opener, wire stripper, and flathead screwdriver. Also features your standard file. Now on this, I've actually gone ahead and turned it into a knife. I went ahead and sharpened the other side. It seemed like there was no reason I shouldn't have, a second small blade, so that's one thing to think about. I just used I've got a little 1-inch belt sander at home, so I just popped it on that real quick. I could have done a nicer job, but regardless, it's super sharp, so that's all that matters. So it's just, one little extra cutting option. And of course, the tweezers and toothpick and lanyard hole. Of course, your Phillips head. Seems to fit most things. And another good feature is the awl. Now, one thing I think I'm going to do is actually use a Dremel tool and see if I can't pop a small hole in here, or as large a hole as I possibly can, just to be able to, feed cordage through something if I needed to sew, stitch, or, fix my bag or something. So we'll see if, that's another idea to modify a cheap knife. So, either way, this has been a really good, option to, I guess I won't say in replace of a multi-tool. Depends, depends on your knowledge of tools and how you use them and that kind of thing. But, works out pretty well, lightweight, as are all, almost all Swiss Army knives. It's always a good thing to look into, and they've got tons of options for different tools, and, well, you've seen them all. But they're good knives, might be something to consider, lightweight. It's always good to just throw that in the bottom of your pack. Doesn't hurt to have a second blade around. Me, anyone who knows me knows I carry way too many knives. Usually 2 or 3 at a time. I'm usually my main one, and then maybe I'm testing out a new one, or maybe I'll just throw that in my pocket or put that next to my multi-tool or something. So I've always got plenty of knives on me. But anyway, so these kind of things are a good cheap option. I'm sure this wasn't any more than 20 bucks. Of course, that was 20 years ago, so who knows. But anyway, regardless, you might want to look into one of those. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching.